Now, Saints quarterback Derek Carr made a bold statement about the Raiders' new head coach, Antonio Pierce. Keep in mind, the Raiders are set to play the New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr's new team, this year in 2024 on prime time. I'll give my thoughts at the end of this video on who I think will win that game. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. Make sure you subscribe for more content like this. Not only will the Saints versus Raiders matchup this year be a revenge game for Derek Carr, it will also be a revenge game in some subtle way for Dave Ziegler, the former Raiders GM under Josh McDaniels. Dave Ziegler joined the Saints as a consultant for the 2024 NFL Draft. I'm joking, it's not that big of a deal. He's kind of barely joining the team as an advisor, but it is still funny that the guy who helped lead the charge with Josh McDaniels in getting rid of Derek Carr from the Raiders is now part of Derek Carr's new team, helping them draft. Will Ziegler and Carr get their revenge on Mark Davis? Saints fans are unable to move on from the Drew Brees era. They are still giving Derek Carr a hard time, and it's so easy for people like me to trigger them. Just a month ago, all I did was point out the fact that Derek Carr is 2-0 undefeated against the beloved Sean Payton and Drew Brees duo. This went viral on Twitter when I said this. I just point out this fact and I had a flurry of different comments all coming after me. They just can't realize that the answer is in their building. Carr shockingly took to Instagram and openly answered questions from fans, and you had Saints fans bringing up some negative stuff. This guy said, "Show up when the game is winnable, not when we are down 20, and stop scamming us." And Derek Carr was bold enough and brave enough to just answer this.
Love these. Like when we had to win 4 of our last 5 to even have a chance. Yeah. Nice try with the hate. We ain't doing that no more. Appreciate you though.
So Derek Carr almost bit on the negativity because this is just such a stupid question. The only game where this actually happened was against the Los Angeles Rams on prime time. Clearly this fan is a casual, only watches the prime time games, probably didn't see all the games at 10 a.m. and 1 o'clock. But I was surprised Carr did this because you're gonna open yourself up to trolls, because it is a losing battle dealing with some of these negative people. They are going to think whatever they want to think, regardless of the facts that you present to them. They don't care. They're not going to listen. Derek Carr was knocked out of 3 games and still finished 13th in passing yards. Carr was also 10th, even with all the drama dealing with the head case Michael Thomas and the salty Jameis Winston. Derek Carr was still 10th in passing touchdowns in the entire NFL, on top of being knocked out of games while only throwing 8 picks. That is a great touchdown interception ratio. But it is true that Derek Carr, as of late, hasn't been able to play at the highest of the highs that we've seen him in the NFL. This tweet that quoted Mike Mayock talking about Derek Carr was completely taken out of context, and it's actually disgusting how badly this was taken out of context. It was viewed as a dig at Derek Carr when really it was a compliment. And it was also a compliment regarding John Gruden. You had Darius Philon, former Raiders defensive tackle who was part of that amazing 2021 season when the Raiders made the playoffs. By the way, it's an absolute shame that Darius Philon is not signed to an NFL team right now. If you're watching this, he is healthy, and I think this guy can still cause a major ruckus on the football field. But he made this statement about Gruden that I thought was worth sharing. They know Gruden's a good coach. People make comments every day. Seems like Philon is making a point about Gruden's cancellation and how it's not fair. People say inappropriate stuff every day. But let's fact check this Mike Mayock quote, and I thought it was very interesting. And if you're a Saints fan, and if you're a Raiders fan, you definitely need to pay attention to this.
I thought John did an unbelievable job with Derek Carr. Getting the, since John left, Derek has gone downhill.
So Mayock's point was mainly to compliment John Gruden, saying he got the most out of Derek Carr. And I think people really underestimate what we mean by most. And this needs to be said because people forget this time and time again. Before John Gruden was forced to resign, before he was straight up fired and canceled, he had Derek Carr playing as the best quarterback in the NFL. Yes, the best quarterback in the NFL. Don't forget, in September in 2021, Carr was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Month. Right before Gruden was canceled, he was 3-0, rated the best AFC offensive player in the entire league. He was also the 5th QB in NFL history to go 3-0 in the beginning of the season and throw for over 300 touchdowns and 2+ TDs in each game. Only Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Peyton Manning, and Steve Young did the same thing. Oh, and by the way, he was leading the league in passing yards, had 6 touchdowns with 2 picks, and by the way, each touchdown was caught by a different receiver. So the point about Carr regressing after Gruden was not a dig at Derek Carr at all. Mayock has stated before that after the 2021 season, right before Josh McDaniels was hired, he was offered a first-round pick plus more for Derek Carr.
I took the phone calls for people trying to trade for Derek Carr, and he was worth more than a first-round draft pick.
And even for the people who dislike Carr, this has got to disappoint you, the fact that the Raiders released the guy for nothing. But part of the reason why they never traded him away is because of how they felt about him.
And by the end of the 21 season, whether you were a Derek Carr guy or not, I think you probably had to say he's a top 12 or 13 quarterback. And if you liked him, he might have been 8, 9, 10. If you didn't like him, he was 12, 13, 14. But Derek was a top 12 quarterback in our opinion. We never got an answer satisfactory as to how we would replace Derek.
And the Raiders right now are wishing they had Derek Carr, and that is what makes Carr's comments about Antonio Pierce quite interesting. Carr really did bleed silver and black, and you could hear it in the tone of his voice when he's asked about playing in Oakland and Vegas.
Honestly, Oakland was unreal. Nothing I've ever experienced. It was crazy. Las Vegas was unbelievable. Again, crazy atmosphere. It felt like a nightclub in there. Little John going crazy. All of it was crazy. And New Orleans is unbelievable. When we score, they start playing the music. Everybody starts dancing. We do the kickoff. Ain't nothing like it.
Carr was more of an Oakland QB than a Vegas QB, and you know he likes the Oakland diehard fans way more than the nightclub crap in Vegas. The Raiders versus Saints will not be at a nightclub. It is going to be in New Orleans, and Derek Carr seems hyped about playing Max Crosby.
I am looking forward to it. I cannot wait. And hopefully I'm going to try and start a fight with him and punch him and then have the ref only see him throw his punch back. That's my goal.
Derek Carr is going to artfully get some flags against Max Crosby. I don't think Crosby is going to call Carr a little boy like he did Gardner Minshew last year.
Little ass boy.
Because now the little boy is the starting quarterback of Crosby's team, and I don't think the guy is as talented as Derek Carr. Derek Carr is not only going to go up against Max Crosby, but also Antonio Pierce, who Raiders fans are hoping is a sleeper head coach who just needed an opportunity. Carr was asked about the guy.
Right, and lastly, your golf buddy Devontae, what has he said about the new way here with the Raiders, with Antonio Pierce kind of at the helm, and what have you heard from him?
For me, I was around Antonio that last year, and I loved him. Oh my goodness! You know, my brother played with him in New York. He told me, "Dude, you're gonna love him." You could feel that he understood what it meant to be a player. You could feel he understood what it was like, and he understood when it was hard and how to push you, how to motivate you, even when it was hard, because he understood. He lived it. Talking to Tay loves him. Tay absolutely loves him, and it'd be hard to find one person in that building that doesn't love Antonio. He's perfect for the Raiders. If I was still there, I would love to play for him. Because he's a great leader. He's going to let you be you. He's going to let you cut it loose and be the player that you want to be, while also holding you to a standard that it takes to win.
Whoa! Key comment there. If he was still there, he'd love to play for Antonio Pierce. And that's what hurts. Josh McDaniels got rid of Derek Carr. The Raiders have Antonio Pierce now. Things are trending upwards. Davante Adams wanted to play with Carr. And just what if? What if the Raiders still had Carr right now? There would be a lot more optimism going into this 2024 season. And if Carr is out here saying that he would love to play for somebody like Antonio Pierce, if he was still there, is the door completely closed on this guy one day someday maybe returning to Vegas. I know it's hilarious and delusional. It's hilarious to think about. It would be amazing if it did happen, but it is delusional at this point. Carr's contract with the Saints, ever since he restructured, pretty much locks him in with the team until 2025. He'll be their quarterback this year and next year, and maybe they can part ways in 2026, but honestly, I don't think so. I think he'll even play for New Orleans in 2026 as well. It is going to be amazing. Sunday Night Football, Raiders versus Saints. I cannot believe it. I hope this game is freaking week 1, but Sunday night we're all going to be able to watch it. Who do I think will win this game? Who do I want to win this game? Well, obviously I want the Raiders to win this game. It's my favorite team, even though Derek Carr is my favorite QB. But if Josh McDaniels was still the head coach, since I wanted him fired desperately every single week, if he was still the head coach, I would 100% be rooting for the opposite. But luckily I was right about Josh McDaniels being a disaster, unlike a lot of you Raiders fans who were simps for Josh McDaniels and thought Jimmy G was going to lead us to the Super Bowl. So now I could easily root for Vegas. But now, who do I think is going to win? Not necessarily who do I want to win. If the Raiders are unable to draft their franchise quarterback, then I think that puts them at a huge disadvantage in this game. They will be rolling with Gardner Minshew, who I think is decent, is a good bridge quarterback, but he's not a franchise guy. He's not as talented as Derek Carr. So I think if they roll out there with either Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, I think they will lose that Sunday Night Football game. However, if they have their franchise guy, if they have their young up-and-coming rookie quarterback, I think that puts them at an advantage, and I think they will defeat the Saints in that case. Let me know how excited you are for that game this year, and we are almost at 100,000 subscribers. Make sure you click that subscribe button to support this channel for more content from me, Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.